Hey, everybody. Once again, it's Tony and Mike's newest adventure. Here we go again. What is this, week five, six? How many times have we done this so far?
This is number six, Tony.
All right.
Number six. Who would
Okay.
have thought? I thought we were going to be done after one, but
That's
apparently
okay.
we're
Who thought we would last this long? This is great. We're really enjoying ourselves, and we thank you so much for joining us each and every week. Mike, you and I, we like to mess around. We like to laugh, the whole nine yards, but I think we got to start it off with a very serious subject today.
Yeah, and this one is, of course, close to your heart with somebody in law enforcement in your family and another police-involved shooting. This involving a black man, and this is once again gripped the entire nation. Back apparently on Sunday. This happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and if you don't know where that is, it's kind of near where I grew up in northern Illinois, but it's in southern Wisconsin, pretty much just across the border near Milwaukee, where apparently a man, Jacob Blake, was shot several times in the back by a police officer. In fact, the police issued a statement recently suggesting, not giving a lot of details, but it was the first official police version of what happened. It didn't go into detail as to why the officer shot Blake and shot him 7 times in the back. There apparently was talk that there was a knife that this man had. No word on whether or not he threatened officers with it and whatnot. And once again, we have another extreme rush to judgment in the media and in the public as to what happened here. But we've had international response to this and the sports world. You may remember 4 years ago, Tony, it was 4 years ago this week that Colin Kaepernick for the first time took a knee during the national anthem. And that got a lot of reaction. In fact, Colin Kaepernick isn't playing football right now because of his stance at that time, or lack of stance, taking a knee during the national anthem because of racial inequality, especially when it comes to the police department here in the United States. And now you're seeing athletes take a knee. You're seeing coaches take a knee. Now we're seeing games postponed because of this. The Milwaukee Bucks, of course, in Wisconsin there, they did not play their playoff game this week, and it was postponed. In fact, the entire NBA is sitting out the playoffs on Thursday, and the entire NHL has also joined that and is not playing their.
Hey, everybody. Once again, it's Tony and Mike's newest adventure. Here we go again. What is this, week five, six? How many times have we done this so far?
This is number six, Tony.
All right.
Number six.
Okay.
Who would have thought? I thought we were going to be done after one, but
That's
apparently
okay.
we're.
Who thought we would last this long? This is great. We're really enjoying ourselves, and we thank you so much for joining us each and every week. Mike, you and I, we like to mess around. We like to laugh, the whole nine yards, but I think we got to start it off with a very serious subject today.
Yeah, and this one is, of course, close to your heart with somebody in law enforcement in your family and another police-involved shooting. This involving a black man, and this is once again gripped the entire nation. Back apparently on Sunday. This happened in Kenosha, Wisconsin, and if you don't know where that is, it's kind of near where I grew up in northern Illinois, but it's in southern Wisconsin, pretty much just across the border near Milwaukee, where apparently a man, Jacob Blake, was shot several times in the back by a police officer. In fact, the police issued a statement recently suggesting, not giving a lot of details, but it was the first official police version of what happened. It didn't go into detail as to why the officer shot Blake and shot him 7 times in the back. There apparently was talk that there was a knife that this man had. No word on whether or not he threatened officers with it and whatnot. And once again, we have another extreme rush to judgment in the media and in the public as to what happened here. But we've had international response to this and the sports world. You may remember 4 years ago, Tony, it was 4 years ago this week that Colin Kaepernick for the first time took a knee during the national anthem. And that got a lot of reaction. In fact, Colin Kaepernick isn't playing football right now because of his stance at that time, or lack of stance, taking a knee during the national anthem because of racial inequality, especially when it comes to the police department here in the United States. And now you're seeing athletes take a knee. You're seeing coaches take a knee. Now we're seeing games postponed because of this. The Milwaukee Bucks, of course, in Wisconsin there, they did not play their playoff game this week, and it was postponed. In fact, the entire NBA is sitting out the playoffs on Thursday, and the entire NHL has also joined that and is not playing their playoff games on Thursday, in solidarity with other professional sports outlets who are not going to be playing their games, to show their support for, I guess, the message that's going on with this. So I guess the big question is, number one, this particular incident, 29-year-old Jacob Blake, it lost his life. The officer involved is Kenosha police officer Rustin Shesky, and now it's a matter of what exactly happened. Did this officer have just cause when it comes to shooting this man? And it has now become, once again, a white police officer shooting or killing a black man. And this has really gripped the entire nation again, and even all the way into the sports world.
This subject, like you said before, it's close to my heart. My son is a police officer in Norwalk, Connecticut. He's 5 years on the force. He's a good cop. He's got a heart. He's very good at what he does. I always say there's good and bad in every profession. I don't care if you're a police officer. I don't care if you're in broadcasting. I don't care if whatever. There's going to be good and bad no matter what. These police officers, and I'm not sticking up for anybody. I'm not saying that this was right or wrong, but these police officers are under immense pressure. They are under the gun, so to speak, no pun intended. They have to make split-second decisions, and sometimes it doesn't work out the way they want it to work out. Now, was there any tasing involved? Did they try to tase?
Yes, they did try to tase him, and apparently it didn't take. At least that's according to reports.
Okay.
And, once again, you have one side of the story, another side of the story, and then somewhere in between is the actual story of what happened. The unfortunate part about this is that a man's life was lost. And now you're trying to see whether or not that was a justified killing by a police officer. Either way, it's still a family that lost, a loved one, and you just want answers. And that's what they're calling for. They want transparency. They want to know exactly what happened in this case so they can move forward.
Well, you flip the record over, and to my way of thinking, I don't know, 7 shots in the back. I don't know. Now, I'm not.
Because the talk was that he had a knife, and they always say the last thing you want to bring to a gunfight is a knife.
Yeah,
I mean,
sure.
you know what I mean? It seems like I said, this is where the rush to judgment comes in, because you just look at the facts, at least that are being presented to you, and you would think shooting a man in the back 7 times is excessive. Usually when they're putting together murder trials, crimes of passion have a lot to do with multiple shootings or multiple stabbings and these types of things. So yes, there are a lot of questions, and the investigation has to take place. The problem is that we've got a nation that is still reeling from the previous instance where a police officer that was white killed a black man. And there's just not seeming to be solutions from one incident to the next. And as we said, that the sports world, whether you like it or not, is getting very much involved here. They had voted not to play the rest of the playoffs, the NBA, but apparently they changed their mind and will continue to play the playoffs after having a Thursday off to, show their support in this matter. But this is now something that is, as I said, almost 4 years to the day that Colin Kaepernick took a knee during, a San Francisco 49ers football game and garnered all this attention. He can't get a job. And now we have NBA players, Major League Baseball players, hockey players, all doing what he did to show their frustration and, in fact, anger, where it's now starting to get very hostile everywhere we go. And believe me, we're not silly in the fact that Tony and I are a couple of white guys talking about this. We don't have a full grasp as to what it's like to be a black man when being confronted by police. We don't know what that's like. Tony knows from his instance as a father what it's like to have a son go to the streets every single day to, protect the citizens of Norwalk. My uncle was a police officer, and he said it was one of the most difficult things getting out of the car and going up to another vehicle because you have no idea what you're walking into.
No.
And this all stemmed from a domestic disturbance that police were being called out to. So once again, you have to let it sort itself out. You have to get the facts and then move forward. If this police officer was guilty of anything, he needs to be held responsible for that. If he wasn't, and this was something that there was just cause, then this incident needs to be looked at as an individual incident moving forward.
Well, the thing is too, these incidents, it's too many. They're coming fast and furious here now. It seems, I know it's ridiculous, but it seems like it's happening every day. That's the way that it seems.
Well, and as you said, there were people protesting the previous incident, so it's just as you said, and it's just from one case to the next. It's very unfortunate. I think that the family of Jacob Blake said that the last thing that they want is violence. They don't want to see violence. You don't want to see police officers. I can't imagine a world without police officers. And that debate is being played out in our political advertisements that we see on television. What a world would be like without the police department. I don't want to know what a world would be like without the police department. But I also saw this sign, which I think is spot on, that nobody hates a bad police officer more than a good police officer.
True.
Police officers don't want bad apples. They don't want racists in their ranks. They don't want that. And we need to understand the climate that is taking place in each city across America and how somebody who may have those feelings can be a police officer. So, as I said, they're still investigating this incident, and hopefully more facts will come to light sooner.
Problem is, Mike, and I don't know, maybe I'm talking through my hat. You just never know what's in a man's head. You never know what's in his heart. You know what I mean? A guy or a lady, it doesn't matter. They could walk around with a big smile on their face. They could be charming at all times, but there could be very unappetizing ideas swirling through their heads. That's a fact of life.
Yeah, that's something you'll never know.
Yeah.
What was in Jacob Blake's head at the time. Police officers can tell you their version of the story. Mm-hmm. Family members can tell their versions of the story, but nobody can tell you exactly what he was thinking at the time. That's something that you won't see facts on, but what you can see facts on are what led this, what brought officers out there in the first place. What were they encountering? Was there any body camera footage of what's taking place? But as we said, the investigation is still unfortunately very fresh, and information is coming out all the time. By the time you hear this, there could be more information as to what we're being made available at this point.
Okay. All right. Well, I just hope they get to the bottom of it and the right decision is made, the right call is made, if you will. But we'll see what goes on. All right. Okay. Couple of things I wanted to just mention before I forget. There was a woman that actually you brought this to my attention. She has noticed that you and I wear the same shirts every Thursday. Okay. I don't know what your excuse is, Mike, but she made the crack saying you guys wear the same shirts. My excuse is if you were here now, you'd see in the back of my collar, it says Thursday. This is my Thursday shirt. Okay. My Thursday shirt. That's all that I could say about that. Okay.
It's like your days of the week underpants from Harry and Sally.
Thank you. Thank
and
you.
Tony, why wasn't there Sunday?
I don't remember that. Tell me.
Because of God.
Oh, that's right.
What she said.
Very good. But I also wanted to say, too, yeah, this is my Thursday shirt. But I want you to know, too, when we're doing these shows, I'm not wearing any trousers. So, yeah, so it all balances out. I did also, I think it was the same lady. She said that my head is too big for the screen. Is that what she said?
Something like that, and your chin gets cut off at the bottom.
Right, right. My head is too big for the screen.
A lot of Stephanie Spielbergs out there. We've got a lot of Stephanie Spielbergs out there.
Yes. And I just wanted to address that. I want you to know that since I was 4 years old, people have told me that I do have the alien head. Okay? And you've seen the alien head many times on Star Trek. You've seen it on Lost in Space. And that's what
I've seen it at the Macy's Thanksgiving Parade.
Thank you. I have been called every name in the book, including helium head. So I just want you to know that that's the way that it is. Now, there was a time where that used to bother me for years and years. Now, at this stage of my life, who cares?
Yeah, no, I know. I see the comments too. And I don't have any reason as to why I wear this shirt. All I know is that since somebody has made a comment on it, even if this is burned, even if I can't stand the smell of it because I didn't wash it in time, I will now always wear this shirt.
Yes.
For this, just for that person. So you know who you are, Stephanie Spielberg.
Yes, of course. There you go. But I do want you to know I am sitting here in my Moudons. Okay. I won't show you, but I am sitting here in my Moudons.
Oh, wow. Now, the 1972 Miami Dolphins always pop champagne every time a football team loses because they were undefeated throughout. Okay?
Right.
Do you do the same thing when Mark David Chapman is denied parole?
Yeah, I really do. I follow that pretty closely.
Well, wasn't it just a few years ago, you and I were on the radio at the time, that there was actually discussion that he is reformed and should be released from prison? There was, I mean, I don't know how many, but there was at least a few people that were kind of thinking that maybe it was time for he to be released. And for people who don't know, he's the one who assassinated John Lennon.
Yes, Lennon never had a chance. You know, I look at it this way. Mark David Chapman is now 65 years old. It happened 40 years ago. Lennon, it cuts off at 40 years old for him. No, I think he should stay in jail for the rest of his life. But if you recall, Mike, John Hinckley, who did an assassination attempt on Ronald Reagan. In fact, he got to Reagan. He shot Reagan that particular day. He's out now. It's over. What did he spend? 35 years or something?
Well, it was Jodie Foster too that he was all.
Well, he did that to impress Jodie Foster. But I am still flabbergasted that he's out of prison. That's enough now. He served his time. He tried to assassinate a president.
I don't know if you can get any other than crimes against children. I don't know if you can get any worse than trying to assassinate the president of the United States. I mean, that's
yes. You know, and I was just reading this morning, but I just want to look at it, make sure I'm getting it right. But Yoko Ono, who is Lennon's widow, every time Chapman comes up for parole, she's always there, and she's not feeling good these days. I think she's confined to a wheelchair now, and she's always there. Okay, and she is afraid that number one, Chapman is going to get out and then try to assassinate her or Lennon's two sons. She's very afraid of that. And also she's afraid for Chapman's own safety that somebody, a crazed fan, will kill Chapman in retaliation for what he did. I agree with this particular article wholeheartedly. Everything that she says is true, except for the part where the guy who wrote the article said that she is a singer and a songwriter. I don't particularly agree with that. But
Can you
everything
do a
else,
Yoko Ono impersonation?
oh, my Yoko, yes, yes. Well, there's a song. There was a record called Cold Turkey. Lennon put this out in 1969. And for a while there, every time Lennon would put out a song, the flip side would be Yoko. Okay. So this particular song, Cold Turkey, the other side had Don't Worry, Kyoko. Mommy's only looking for a hand in the snow. And I swear to you, I am not kidding you. I am not exaggerating. The song went like this for like 5 minutes on the flip side. Okay. That's what the song was. So don't tell me that she's a singer and a songwriter.
You just
Okay,
scared the
that was
living
the
crap.
case.
You just scared the living crap out of my dog.
Very funny. But yeah, that's the story with that. I'm glad they gave him another 2 years at least. Myself, I hope he rots in prison. That's my opinion. Okay. There you go. As we continue here, many things that we wanted to get to before we wrapped it up.
Episode 6, we had thousands of people view the program. We certainly appreciate that. We once again thank you to Big Steve over at Doing It Local for hosting it as it premieres as Facebook Live. Comment as the show is going along. We'd love to read the comments. And of course, the word last week was Cocoa Puffs, which was a wonderful cereal. In fact, Tony, in your honor, I bought a box of Cocoa Puffs.
Got you going.
I'm a Cocoa Pebbles guy.
Okay.
But I decided to go with Cocoa Puffs, so certainly appreciate that. So we had several people put the Cocoa Puffs word there. Now, I was told to get like a magnifying glass, but I'm just going to do this. Okay, this is my new thing as I do the names. Don, Lynn, Willem, let's see, Linda, Wheeler, Diana, Kathy, Annette, I can't read, obviously, Rose, Paula, Dee, Allison, Thomas, Pat, Janet, Nancy, Celeste, Ida, Patricia, Charlie, Vicky, John, Linda, David, Patty, Tricia, Rich, Val, Sandy, and Lisa. So thank you to everybody who put Cocoa Puffs in the comments, as that's at the end of the program. And Tony will give us yet another food that will get us thinking of buying it sometime this week. So that's the pressure now. You have to find that sort of forgotten snack. Did you see that Lucky Charms just released bags of just their marshmallows?
No, really?
I mean, I know that your doctor is cringing at the idea of you knowing this, but yes, Lucky Charms, just the they did this for a little while and then they stopped, but it's back. If you go to grocery stores, you can find just the bag of the marshmallows of Lucky Charms.
Nice. Well, why not? Captain Crunch, they do the Crunch Berries with no Captain Crunch in it. So yeah, why not? Sure. Absolutely.
Yeah,
absolutely. I can't indulge. What about Dancing with the Stars?
Yeah, all right. Is Christy available? Is she around? We need
Hold on.
her
Chrissy,
feedback on this.
put down the big spoon. And could you come up here? You don't have to be on camera if you don't want to.
Now, when we were on the radio, a very popular segment was Tony's wife, Christy, coming on and telling us everything about Dancing with the Stars.
Yes.
My favorite part about it was that she didn't know any of the names of the people, but she described who they were and and then Tony would bring up the name and she'd say, yeah, he's got to go or she's got to go and all those types of things. But apparently there's rumors as to who the new season is going to be. Now, we have a new host. Are you aware of the new host for Dancing with the Stars?
Yes. You're aware of the new Tyra Banks?
Yes.
And how do you feel about Tyra Banks taking over?
Not happy.
Yeah.
I like Tom Bergeron.
Yes.
He's funny.
Did he fall into a scandal?
Oh, did he? I don't know. I just figured that he got too old and they wanted to freshen things up a little bit.
Too old. He wasn't that old, was he?
Well, he's older than me.
Yeah. Well, that's old.
Yeah.
All right. So Tyra Banks is the host. The show is going to premiere September 14th on ABC.
Write that down.
All right. So write that down. And Christy, if we're still doing this program, which would be surprising to me by September 14th, you'll have to come on and talk about it. Okay.
I will.
Did you watch Tiger King on Netflix?
No, I
Either of
didn't.
you?
Did you watch Tiger King on Netflix?
No.
No, we didn't watch
Well,
that.
you're going to have to start watching it because rumor has it Carol Baskin, who is rumored to have killed her husband and fed him to the tigers. She's rumored to be on this season of Dancing with the Stars.
Okay.
Wow. Yeah, but see, Mike, that's where, when the show came on, it used to be like, B-list people. Now, I didn't know anybody's names in the last few shows because I felt they're like D-listers or E-listers. You know what I mean?
Yeah. No, I agree with you. And once again, these are probably just lists that people would love to see on the show as opposed to actually being talked about by ABC. Anne Heche is another one.
Oh,
Okay. That's appropriate because her career is in the toilet, so that's appropriate. That makes it official.
Charlie Sheen.
Yeah,
Charlie Sheen.
that'll be good.
He's
be
healthy
great.
enough. I haven't seen him in a long time, although he was on. I'm watching the Goldbergs. I know I'm very late to the party. I'm watching the Goldbergs. Tony's been talking about the show since it came on the air. I just watched the episode where they redid Ferris Bueller.
Yes.
And Charlie Sheen's at the end of it. And he's like, I've been here for 30 years, for God's sakes. And he walks off because he's in the original Ferris Bueller.
The only thing, we were watching it when it first came on. There's a commercial for an app called GoodRx, and Charlie Sheen's father is like the spokesman, Martin Sheen, and they all of these people are like cheering Martin Sheen on, and then there's a quick pan over to Charlie Sheen, who's sitting in his living room, and he's going like, "Go, Dad, go, Dad." And I looked at my wife and I went, poor bastard. I mean, he used to make $1 million an episode, and now he's doing GoodRx commercials.
He was
Give it
the
to
wild
Martin Sheen. He's 75 years old.
He was the wild thing. He was the
Right?
wild thing. Yeah.
Who else?
Jesse McCartney.
Oh, I like him. He was on The Masked Singer.
See, I
That's
thought that
another
was
excellent show.
I thought maybe it was a girl. Yeah,
He was good.
runner up on season 3 of The Masked Singer. Christy Brinkley.
Oh,
Wasn't she on
she
before?
was on the last year.
She was on board
during
for it, but
practice,
dropped
she
out.
broke her wrist.
Yeah, broke her wrist. Her daughter replaced her,
Right.
but I guess they're hoping. Former Pittsburgh Steelers linebacker Ryan Shazier. Now, this is he was nearly paralyzed in 2017, but has since learned to walk again after spine surgery. So there's talk about possibly bringing him, if he can do it. I mean, that doesn't seem like something I would push to do after spine surgery, but no, that's something he wants to do.
The football players are very popular on the show.
Yeah, they have a big following. Emmett
Yes.
Smith won it. Who else?
Emmett.
He just said that.
Oh, he said that.
Yeah, he said that.
Jerry Rice.
Jerry Rice.
Jerry
Jerry
Rice,
Rice. I think he won
okay.
it. Yeah. Okay.
Let's see here. Former soap star Chriselle Strauss.
Never heard of her.
No.
Okay. Jerry Harris from Cheer. These are Netflix shows. I've never heard
No.
of them. The producers really wanted Dr. Anthony Fauci,
Yeah, they'll get him. Okay.
but they figured he might be too busy with the ongoing pandemic. So
All right,
those are
Mike,
just
Let me
a
ask you
few.
this. Does it say anything in there how they're going to produce the show when there's all of this social distancing and all of that?
Well,
going on?
I heard that the pro dancers would not be living with each other. Apparently, they were all staying with each other while this was going on. At least that's what I read in an article, but they would be doing social distancing between them. I don't know how they'll do it with the contestants and the pro dancers. I mean, I would assume everybody is being tested, so you know that you're dancing with somebody who doesn't have the coronavirus. But you're right. That's a show that you would think would be in jeopardy.
I mean, a lot of close proximity there.
Yes.
Are they going to do it at ABC Studios, or are they going to do it like we're doing this now?
I don't know. Well, how? Well, I guess. I mean, you'd be watching them. Well, they're not going to have a live studio audience.
Right.
No way.
Okay.
I mean, will they have cardboard cutouts of the Kardashians?
Terrific. That's great.
I would consider this kind of a reunion show. You and I together again in a reunion show. This is kind of it. But I guess we've started something here, because did you know that they're having a reunion Tool Time show?
Of
That
Say
Tim
that.
Allen and Richard Karn,
yes, on TLC, isn't it?
History.
History.
on the History Channel. It's going to be called Assembly Required.
Okay.
It features builders and their home workshops competing to fix or improve everyday household items, which sounds like tool time. Tim and Richard will share the history around the items that are featured. So it looks like they're reuniting for a show on the History Channel.
Okay. I'm surprised that they could get Richard Karn. He's been so busy since the show went off the air. You know?
Well, he did Family Feud for a while.
Very good, Mike. Yes, he did. You're right.
Tim Allen, of course, very busy with Toy
Last Man
Story,
Standing.
and then
Yep.
Last Man Standing, the other show. So, no, I mean, we'll see. I'd be interested in it. Are they going to get Pamela Anderson back?
Then I'd be very interested. Okay.
This is where the hand is supposed to come across the computer screen
That's all right. She went downstairs.
and
I'm
smack you in the face.
All right. Very, very good. All right. Coronavirus has us in its clutches. I'm reading yesterday, KFC has suspended its advertising slogan, finger licking good.
Oh, come on.
Yeah. They say it's not right to recommend people lick their fingers during the pandemic. But
Oh, come on. Really?
aren't we supposed to be constantly washing our hands?
Well, okay. Then sneak it into the wash your hands, finger licking good. You know, I mean, just kind of have somebody insert that line. I mean,
Yeah.
I understand that we all think that money grows on trees, but you're forcing companies to like have new advertising slogans and whatnot because of this. I mean, it's common sense. You just sterilize your hands wherever. You know, it's the classic line, you don't know where that's been type of thing. I don't know. I mean, do we really have to change?
Let me ask you a question. Is this going to stop anybody from licking their fingers when they're eating KFC?
No,
No,
I don't think so.
it's not going to make a difference. What else happened?
As long as you're face deep in a bucket, you're gonna be licking your fingers.
That's all that counts. That's all that counts. Also, because of COVID, as if we needed another reason not to exercise, doctors say if you do have coronavirus and you exercise, it can make your symptoms worse. So you see, you and I were ahead of our time. You know,
We just want to be as healthy as we can.
That's it.
That's why we refuse to exercise.
Yes. You see, we're doing our part, folks. We're doing our part.
We are. You know, speaking of this, McKenna had her first week of school.
Oh, how did that go?
They call it Distance Learning 2.0. That's what they call it. And the teachers they really got together over the summer and have done a great job in the first week. When they first got hit with this and the kids had to leave school early, they scrambled and did everything they could. McKenna's in third grade now, and her second grade teacher did everything that she could. It wasn't much, but you know, she ended up passing second grade. Now, right out of the box, she's got a full schedule, and her teacher is there in front of her from 8 a.m. until about 2:30 in the afternoon. And they have breaks for lunch. They have breaks they call them brain breaks. I think that's more for the teachers than it is the kids. But it's a teacher teaching them, and then they're doing exercises on this program called Seesaw and sending it to the teachers, and the teachers are grading it right then and commenting back to them. I don't know of any teacher who wouldn't rather be in the classroom with the kids. They realize that, but I have to acknowledge where McKenna goes to school and how they've handled this so far, because I know that it wasn't done well in the spring, but we were all sort of thrown into it in short notice, and it's nice to see that the schools have gotten together over the summer and have put together a program that can certainly at least somewhat sustain the children before they go back to the class.
Well, you know, Mike, it's new to everybody. It's new to all of these school districts. And, you know, you're going to find that, I think anyway, things are going to change as the year progresses, as the school year progresses. You're going to see, I think anyway, that things are going to change, you know, over and over and over again, because there is a learning curve here. And they've got to find the right way to do this. And the only way to do it is just kind of like go by the seat of your pants, really.
Yeah, you know, and Facebook is, of course, the classic taking a picture of your child on their first day of school. And you can tell the ones that were learning in their bedrooms versus the ones that actually went to their classes.
Right.
And, you know, I feel for parents that their children are in the school. I'm sure the schools are trying to do everything that they possibly can to keep your children safe. And the whole sports aspect of things, I get it, believe me. McKenna participates in softball, so I understand wanting to get them back out there and playing as much as possible. But for parents who don't want their children to participate in sports because of the risk of the coronavirus, I understand that too. I mean,
Absolutely.
as a parent, the last thing you want is your children to be in harm's way. And we all know that they're like petri dishes. When they get in school, they contract everything and they bring it home and the whole house gets sick. We know how that works. And with this coronavirus, you don't want to mess around. You just don't want to mess around with this at all.
My big question with coronavirus, I've said this before, always was, what about going to the bathroom? I mean, let's face it. I mean, these kids, you know, the aim is terrible. Those bathrooms are filthy dirty.
Kids, I mean, they like that as adults too.
Exactly. You're right. And I always said, what about the bathrooms? Now I heard that some of these school districts now have hired one guy or one woman per school, and that's what they do. They clean the bathrooms. You know, how many bathrooms are in a school, in an elementary school, let's say? There's got to be 20 bathrooms on the 3 floors or 2 floors, whatever it is.
And that's just for the
their
students.
Job.
I
They
mean,
go
you have
from bathroom
faculty.
to bathroom. They clean it. When they're done, they do the last one. They go back and they start all over again. That's
And
how.
then you have the faculty bathrooms too. I mean, you have
Exactly. So there are ways, I guess.
I guess, yeah. No, I mean, I get it, but you're right. That's a place where germs are spread.
Yep.
Without a doubt. No, I agree with you. So, you know, as kids are going back to school, whether it's in the classroom or at home, you know, our thoughts are with all the parents out there and the teachers out there and the administrators who are having to make it up as they go along. But I'm once again very happy so far with McKenna's teacher and how the school is handling this. They say that they're going to reevaluate next month. The boys are scheduled to go into preschool. They are still scheduled to go in class on September 14th. So, you know, we'll keep you posted if the school decides to change things up a little bit with
Well,
them.
the only thing you can do is make the sign of the cross and just hope everybody stays safe.
Yeah, no, you're right. You're right. The fall, of course, is right around the corner. We've got real hot weather recently. We've got hurricanes that are churning in the Gulf of Mexico and affecting parts. So, you know, summer still has its grip, but sure signs of fall, Tony. The Starbucks pumpkin spice latte was released earlier than ever. There were rumors Starbucks would release it, and they were true. Starbucks rolled it out this week, which is the earliest they've ever started selling it. It's the 17th year of the pumpkin spice latte at Starbucks. And what I noticed at one of the grocery stores that I service, they've had pumpkin pies out for the last 2 weeks. And every time I go up to the chips to take care of them, these tables are empty. People are scooping up the pumpkin pies even in August. I mean, I can't believe it.
Well, as far as pumpkin spice goes, I say be a man. Drink coffee. Drink the regular coffee. All right.
The black coffee?
Well, you can put a little cream in it if you want, but just be a man. This flavored coffee. Come on. All right. Am I right or wrong? Come on.
I have to say you're wrong because I can't drink. If it tastes anything like coffee, I can't drink it. And you know me. We used to have our mornings there before the show would start. You and I would sit there and have coffee, and you knew that there were days that I would have coffee, and then there were days that it was just pure Mountain Dew on a morning like that, as opposed to coffee. I had to be in a special mood, especially that coffee maker at the radio station. Oh my gosh, that was disgusting. I mean, it was like what they used to blacktop driveways. I mean, it just came out with like I mean, that's how it sounded. It was like a soft serve ice cream machine.
We never cleaned it. It was never
Oh,
cleaned.
are you supposed to clean those?
You know what I'm saying? There you go.
I know there's vinegar somehow. Oh boy. All right.
All right.
So I asked you before. Oh no, I wanted to add. I asked you before we started what year you graduated high school.
Yes, 1979.
1979. Okay. Well, apparently, the New York Daily News has put a list together of songs of the summer going all the way back to 1958, like the song of that year. Can you even guess what the song of the year you graduated high school?
1979. It's got to be the Bee Gees. You know, You Should Be Dancing or Staying Alive. No,
No.
Grease.
I'm surprised. Bad Girls by Donna Summer.
Okay, all right.
That was number one. Number two, Ring My Bell by Anita Ward.
Oh yeah.
Number three, Good Times. Was it by Chic?
Okay.
Yeah. 1979 disco hit Bad Girls, which became Summer's most successful single. The track would later serve as inspiration to hip-hop artists who frequently used it for samples. Okay, so that was the number one song for Summer as you graduated. Now, you have to fast forward quite a few years to get to then my graduation year. Sorry, Tony. But what is 79 to 94? That's 15 years.
At least 15 years, yeah.
Yeah, 15 years. So 1994 was the year that I graduated. Any idea? I know that in fact, I just saw you commenting on somebody's Facebook page about how the music died in the 80s. And there's very little music that you even acknowledge since the 80s.
I haven't acknowledged anything since about 1985.
Okay, all right, 1980. So that's post-Thriller for Michael Jackson, right?
Yeah, all right. Well, Thriller was cool, and then it started to, you know.
But I'm even surprised by this. The number one song for the summer in 1994 was "I Swear" by All for One.
Okay.
You even know the song?
No.
It's a song that goes like, "I swear." Na, 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 na. You know that?
Yeah,
Okay.
I've heard it.
Second was "Stay" by Lisa Loeb.
Okay.
Three was "Don't Turn Around" by Ace of Base. I have a true story about that song, "Don't Turn Around."
Okay.
Okay? I was dating a girl, and I didn't know this. I swear I did not know this. Okay? I had strike one and strike two with this girl. Okay?
All right. Okay.
I'm in my room with her. Now, Mom, I know you're watching this. Don't worry. There wasn't any hanky-panky, at least on this day. But I'm in the room, and I break up with her. Okay? It just so happened to be on our anniversary, which I didn't know. And the song "Don't Turn Around" was playing at the time. The song is about, get out of here. Don't turn around. Just go. And that's the song that's playing as I'm breaking up with her in my bedroom on our anniversary.
And you had no idea what you were doing.
No idea. No, I just liked another girl. That's really all it was. I just liked another girl.
Was she upset, or did she kind of like shrug her shoulders?
Yeah, no, she was. Oh, yeah. Well, to lose this, I mean,
Yeah.
come on. I mean, that's tough.
I know what you mean.
And just think, I was a less gray, smaller version, younger version of this. But yeah, no, that song is playing in the background on my anniversary as I'm breaking up with this girl.
Wow.
I don't know if she might watch this, so I think I'm going to end it there. But yeah, no, she that was in the top three. So I would certainly go with your song over mine when it comes to it. But I know 10,000 Maniacs was a group that I know their song played during our talent show when I was graduating. I'm sure there's songs you remember from high school that kind of symbolize that. But you can go to the New York Daily News website to find, possibly a song that was
actually all those songs that you mentioned from 1979. I remember all of those. I remember all of that happening at that point.
And to show how off the reservation you and I are, they're saying that the song this year could be "Savage" by Megan Thee Stallion.
Okay. All right. I mean, it's just, if there's nothing on TV anymore, so we find ourselves watching, old reruns of Andy Griffith and Everybody Loves Raymond and all of that. But they keep showing this commercial for the Video Music Awards coming
Yeah.
to MTV.
Hosted by Lady Gaga, right?
No, hosted by Kiki Palmer. Okay, but all of these artists, what the hell? Juice World, The Weeknd, BTS. Who are these people?
Well, there was BTO back in your day.
No, BTO. That's one thing, you know. I was accused of having BO as well.
On several occasions, not only as a child, but also as an adult.
Yes, of course. Sure.
Jeez.
Good
Oh,
God.
boy. Yeah, but so people can go and check that out and see if they agree. Surprised not to see any Hootie and the Blowfish, because that
Well,
was.
in 94, that was their year, wasn't it?
I
95?
thought so.
Yeah.
I mean, maybe it was the next year. I don't know, but
Yeah.
I thought that was the year. I don't know.
So I did want to make one mention, and I called Mike about this, but I found some interesting things when it came to Eversource. I went out to the mailbox and I got my Eversource bill, and it amazed me how much it went up.
No.
It went from like $160, $170 in July to like over $300 in August.
Ooh.
I told my wife, I says, this got to be a mistake. She was livid. I wanted people to know these new charges went into effect on July 1st. This included an approved 4% raise increase for the last couple of weeks. However, I lost it, but Connecticut is not standing for it. From what I understand, Connecticut is making Eversource, if I'm understanding this correctly, they are making Eversource put a halt on this until they can look into it and make sure that what's going on is not a crooked thing,
Yeah.
you know?
Well, it even got to the point where you called, right? Didn't you
I
call
called.
them?
Yeah, well, he gave me some spiel of, yeah, well, you weren't, you know, you're using your air conditioner. Okay.
But you said that the bill was pretty similar to what it was last year.
That's what he told me, but I
Okay.
didn't have my bill in front of me. He supposedly went on the computer. I don't know.
Yeah. I mean, you expect electric bills to be higher in the summer, and
Yes.
let's face it, you're home all day now. So that means that the air conditioning is running more, and it's been
The
hotter and
argument-
muggier.
The argument was, how dare you raise it like this when so many people are having a hard time financially with COVID-19? You know,
Yeah.
and I understand Richard Blumenthal is in on it as well. So we'll see what goes on. They want, the state of Connecticut wants to force Eversource, I guess, to go back to the prices that they were charging in June, if I read that correctly. So
Yeah, and obviously, Eversource is still answering from their storm response.
right,
So it was a
yes.
bad time for a rate increase, and they just had a public hearing where apparently the CEO was just ripped up and down, which happens. We've seen so many CEOs of utility companies come and go in Connecticut because the storm response has a lot to do with how beautiful the state is with its trees. When you have that many trees and you have power lines above ground, you're going to have issues, and that's what these utility companies are dealing with. So they had a bad storm response, and they're increasing rates or requesting to. Bad timing. So, get on the horn with your state rep and try and block this from happening.
And what about all these people that lost their electricity during the last storm for 5, 6, 7, 8 days, 10 days at a time? Did they get a rebate on that? Do they slash the bill because you didn't have electricity for all those days?
I mean, the only thing I could think of is that if you didn't have electricity, you're not paying for electricity. You know what I mean? I mean, if there's no power going into the house, that would be if I were on the phone and I was wearing the headset from Eversource. Well, Mr. Reno, you weren't actually using the electricity. So, I mean, don't you think that's fair? Can we just have a gentleman's agreement here that let's let bygones, all the cliches in the world. But I would think that would be the argument. The only problem is now you have to tap into your homeowner's insurance because you probably lost food in the fridge. You probably lost things because you were out of power for that long. And then you go from, is there any sort of emergency relief? Is there relief from FEMA? Is there, because of the storm? Who knows? Those are all things that homeowners have to check into and find out on their own. Sometimes they'll come and do survey and damage and make sure that you're doing this, because a lot of the way it works is a lot of the times the state as a whole needs to know all the damage it gets from a storm, because once they tally all that up, they can then go to the federal government and say, listen, this is how much damage we're estimating. We need some relief. But then as an individual homeowner, you need to do the same. So if Trumbull has so much, they can get a certain portion of money. If Bridgeport, so you have to try and tell as many people as possible how much damage you had in your house, because, it helps. I mean, it really does help when they have a number that is at a certain level to try and get money to come back from the feds or from the state. So, yep.
All right.
But I mean, air conditioning is expensive. I mean, it is just, I know my utility bill was the highest it's ever been this last month too. So it's a tough pill to swallow when it hits, but I'd rather pay it and have 70 degrees than not pay it and have 84. You know what I mean? Inside, it's one of those things where it's like, my mom used to run the air conditioning in the winter. I mean, when you want it, you want it. You want it, you want it.
I know. All right. What do we
got
doing?
anything else, or you want to wrap things up with bad
Let's
decisions?
wrap things up. You got bad decisions?
I'm ready. A friend of
ready?
you and me.
All right, here we go. Bad decisions. Bad decisions. Mike Beldamine is here for you and me.
All right. Now, I'm not sure what makes someone angrier during an argument. You and I have had some pretty heated arguments in the past. Telling them to calm down or just flat out ignoring? Which one steams you more?
I think the flat out ignoring, I think steams me.
This story will prove you are correct, sir. A guy in Easton, Pennsylvania. You know what Easton's the home of?
No.
Crayola. Did you know that?
Really?
Yeah.
Oh.
Easton, Pennsylvania is the home of Crayola. It's as you enter from New Jersey, Easton is right there to greet you, and there's a Crayola place there. Yeah.
You learn something every day.
In fact, I think we honestly, at the radio station, we're giving away tickets to the Crayola Adventure in Easton, Pennsylvania. I think I remember that on the website.
All right.
That's why I was like, wow, okay, that's kind of a little ways to go, but okay, all right. All right, so a guy in Easton was loading stuff into his trunk on Sunday afternoon when his 43-year-old estranged wife, Deborah, showed up. They started arguing, but while Deborah was talking, the guy turned around to ignore her and just keep loading the trunk. One of the funniest lines in any movie that I have ever heard is in the movie Dumb and Dumber, when Jeff Daniels and Jim Carrey are sitting in that heart-shaped honeymoon hot tub. Mm-hmm. Jeff Daniels is telling the story of his breakup, and he said, she was going on about how I don't listen. I don't know. I wasn't paying attention to her, but it's a quick line, but it's one of the funniest lines I've seen in any movie. But here he is. He's ignoring. He's just still stuffing the trunk. That made her so angry, Tony, that she stabbed him in the back 2 times.
Wow.
Right. Okay. Usually wives stab their husbands in the back when they're not around. This estranged wife decided to do it in person. He was taken to the hospital. He's expected to be okay, but Deborah, of course, was charged with assault.
Ooh. Oof. Eek.
So if you're going to ignore your wives, fellas, do it face to face or do it in the next county. Okay. Don't turn your back.
Do it on the phone. Send an email.
Send a text. Send a
text.
spam email. Jeez.
Anything. And well, that's, when my wife and I, when we argue, that's my wife's thing. My wife will only argue to a certain point, and then she just stops. And I'm like, yeah, but wait a minute. Will not react, will not look at you, just keeps watching TV or whatever's going on at the time. When she's had enough, that's it. It's over. Whether she's winning the argument, which I don't think I've ever won an argument, whether she's winning it or not, that's what she does. Enough.
And then what is Tony? Do you go into trying to make her laugh at all costs mode?
At that point, nothing works. You've got to give her, the space. You got to give her the space.
Okay.
You know, depending upon what we're arguing about, but usually you just got to give her the space, and what are you gonna do, Mike?
Because with you and me, you don't treat me the same. So you've got different strokes for different folks. If you and I are in argument mode, I get texts around the clock every 3 seconds. No, why do you hate me? Why do you hate me? What's going on? Why are you mad? What are you doing? And then just words that don't mean anything. You know, like Beelzebub will sometimes come up. He'll just write things randomly. And then he goes, oh, okay, Mike, we'll talk about the White Sox if I need to get your attention, which I can't believe we've done a whole program without talking about the red hot White Sox.
Dude, hey, they may go all the way.
And no asterisks here, baby. If they win it all, it's a legitimate World Series.
It's legitimate. Yep, legitimate.
They just
You're
had their
backing into it,
19th
but it's
no-hitter
legitimate.
19th no-hitter in franchise history.
Very good.
Now it's against the
Very good.
Pirates, which is a AAA team out of Pennsylvania, in case you've ever heard of Pittsburgh. But
It's funny because I was reading a story. He's talking about the Pirates. This is well before your time. But Doc Ellis? I think it was Doc Ellis. He was a pitcher for Pittsburgh. He threw a no-hitter, and he was on LSD the whole time. He was on an LSD trip when he threw the no-hitter. And he was talking about it, and he says, I got to the park, and I wasn't supposed to start. So I just said, all right, I'll just sit in the dugout, and I'll be on a trip. And, that's it. And then the manager came up to him and said that something happened here. We're switching it around. You're on the mound today. And he had already taken the tablet. Oof.
well, yeah, you hear about guys playing while they're on drugs. I don't know how.
I don't
I
know
don't know how. I mean, you need every level of concentration to hit a ball or to hit the outside part of the plate, whatever the case is. But, wow. Just shows
But that's
how
50 years ago or whatever it was.
Yeah, that's for sure. Well, you and I were half cracked anyway every time we did the radio show. So, what's the word this week?
Surf and turf.
Surf and turf.
Yes.
Okay. Now when I think surf and turf, I think lobster tail and steak.
Yes.
That's what it is. Can it be shrimp and steak? Can it be crab legs and steak? Or does it have to be lobster tail and steak in your mind?
Well, it could be anything that you want, but the word is surf and turf.
Okay.
Okay? So it could be a piece of bologna and tuna fish. It
Oh.
doesn't matter.
Oh my gosh. I don't know if there's a more disgusting combination. Now, is it the bologna with the burnt out cigarette butt in it?
I know what you're talking. It doesn't matter. I don't go near bologna. If I smell it, I throw up. No, I won't. I don't care if it's got the olive. What are you talking about? Olive loaf?
Is that what it is?
I
It
don't
just
know.
always looked like a cigarette butt,
Ugh.
like was ashed out in the bologna.
Surf and turf. That's what we're going with.
Surf and turf. Okay, so comment on that, and we'll say your name on the next
All
week's
right.
program. So thanks for watching, everybody. Once again, once we see that 0 people liked it and watched it, this will be over. But this is the end of episode 6.
All
I
right.
can't believe it, Tony. Who would have thought? 6
That's a
weeks.
show. That's a
Thank you.
show.
Bye.